Hi, this is Alex Gonzalez from In Your Phase. This is a 40K based episode, and we have Tasty Taste from Blood of Kittens on. We have Nick Hayden. He has a lot to discuss with us. We're going to be talking about the 40K competitive scene and some of the challenges, trials, and tribulations that have come about, both historically with more competitive play, as well as some recent examples. So hold on, sit tight, buckle up, and enjoy.
McConnell, who's a farmer slash astronaut.
Yes, this is a little.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
but it's also Ad Nostra. Yeah.
That was the Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Yeah, Leo's in that one. Yeah,
Matthew McConaughey's in it. Isn't he? He's a little spacey.
Yeah. That's the movie. That's the movie you know Matthew McConaughey from.
No, that would be Magic Mike 1.
The one where he has literally 2 fucking minutes of script. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, both movies he has only 2 minutes of script, right?
That's all he needs. He's just there to look good on the screen, let's face it.
Yeah, he saw a bunch of lawbreakers.
Lord.
Actually, my favorite thing ever with Matthew McConaughey has nothing to do with him. On the SNL, Jim Carrey would play him a lot, and he would play those he'd do the Lincoln commercials. And we've been watching, Jamie and I have been watching a lot of Jeopardy. Just happened to get into Jeopardy right before Alex's death, which was a bummer, but then we watched even more because of that. And then we were watching the SNL sketches, and during the 50th anniversary SNL sketch, they had a bunch of like famous people come on to, pretend to be other like dumb celebrities. And they had Jim Carrey do the Matthew McConaughey one. And he's got his own like voiceover that everyone else can hear too. Suddenly I realized that suddenly I just realized that I left my Lincoln unlocked with the engine on, but somehow I knew I was safe. And he's just like looking around. He's like,
I wish they would do like, someone needs to do like an interview with him like at his house and be like, where's the Lincolns? And he has to go
didn't pay me enough.
The other garage.
Other garage.
Oh, hi everyone. This is In Your Phase. Garrett's not here with us today, but we got, of course, myself, Alex, John, Jeremy, and we do have a good guest tonight. We have Nick Hayden, aka Tasty Taste from Blood of Kittens. He has a lot of opinions and he's got a lot to say from 40K. He's got a nice website.
I have no opinions.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Okay, that was for next week's guest. Nick is very soft-spoken. He doesn't really have a lot of opinions, and if he does, he keeps them to himself. He's a very private person.
I nod a lot. It's my job.
He nods a lot. He's a nodder
and a pointer.
Oh boy. To get started, we of course did take the last few weeks off due to Thanksgiving and other such instances. We are just now early mid-December, of course, and my workbench is not existent right now. Like, I have my airbrush set up still. I've been meaning to paint up more of my Necrons or more of my Seraphon, but I've came home from Thanksgiving and just went into a mode of just like full house improvement. So like, we did the Christmas decoration thing, and I put up a TV in my bedroom. I put up a bunch of new furniture. I removed a hobby table because my computer table is a hobby table, and I've been slowly setting up a personal gym, which is convenient because my gym is closing on the 18th for 4 weeks or more. So, by the way, FYI, Jeremy, it's closing for like 4 weeks.
Thank you.
And your membership's getting reduced.
Well, I've already canceled my membership, but thank you.
Oh, well, fuck me. Okay, never mind. So I just happened to be like, I'm going to invest in this whole area being like rubber and getting the whole thing set up. And then I realized that I didn't even need to call him to cancel.
Well, the good thing is now you have Jeremy as a spotter for you, for your gym.
He'll totally do that. And he can come over and he can get swole.
Yeah, that's I do need to get swole.
So do I. Oof. anyways, you're truly not a lot of my workbench in terms of hobby. Definitely soaking in a lot of content. I got to say, I'm actually very, very excited in some of the news that came out today. I feel like today was just a huge day for like information of non specifically tabletop gaming news, anything from all the Disney stuff that got announced today and the Marvel stuff. But primarily what I'm most excited about is that the Dark Tide trailer came out, which for those of you who are unfamiliar, we have played, Jeremy and I and Garrett have played quite a bit of Vermintide, especially when we first started in your phase. A lot of streaming for that game. It's a really fun game. It's really, really good. Highly recommend it. But the same guys who made that have been making a 40K one the whole time called Dark Tide, and it's definitely looking like a lot of fun. Looking at the gameplay trailer, it is 100%. It's not a complete port because, of course, there's mainly melee weapons and some range for Vermintide, and they're just probably flipping the script. But seeing a, I think it's like a female priest, it looked like a male Arbite or Scion, then an Ogren, and then at least one other class, but I'm expecting another class on top of that. It seems like a lot of fun. So we're gonna have to see how it is, because you see like in the trailer, the priest, she's got like a thunder hammer, and then you see like the other guy with a las gun shooting, or hotshot las gun, doing like all his other guardsman shit. But then you just see the Ogren and he's doing his close combat. He's just got a combat knife, but you don't think it's all that much. But then you realize that you're like looking down significantly on all these like cultists, and they're just like exploding in a mist of blood. And you're like, that's fucking tight. So and like the perfect moment too, Jeremy, especially playing Vermintide so much, you see gameplay footage of the guy with the chainsword, one of the more on foot guys, and he's slashing with the chainsword, and then he like pushes them away like someone in Vermintide would push away with their sword, and then just like carve into more shit. So it's looking pretty tight. But that's all that's on my workbench. I've said enough. John, what about you? What's in your what's in your phase? What's in your phase?
Let's see if he figures out. All right.
Hey, Nick, what's in your phase?
There is this thing called, I was wondering where he was going. I was like, is this going to be Alex tangent? Just keeps on going on and on and on.
It was the one time I'm allowed to speak for the whole show. So
oh, you get in. No wonder you were so excited. I was curious. I was like, okay, he's just going to keep on going. Just skip to the end. Okay. So that's
bulldoze right to the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Normally this week I would have been painting some fire spike turrets. I'm trying to get painted, 6 of them. I got a good deal from our local store on them. They bought too many, and I just bought a ball one day, and so I have 6 of them. So that was my plan, and then the internet's happened, and I think I just been pretty much until yesterday refreshing Facebook and Twitch and Twitter and Reddit and stuff like that. So that was my plan. Didn't happen, and then Thursday happened, and so I just want to let you guys know I am taking a break from my marathon playing of Cyberpunk 2077 just for you guys. So
same.
Yes.
So
I'm impressed by that.
So I'm doing that just for you guys. I felt like I needed to come up for air, but I need to get back to my hacking. I need to get back to my biotech. I need to get back to my go to the strip club on the game. It's gonna be great. I need to get back to that stuff. Since I can't go to Portland and do the same things there, I gotta do it. I gotta do it here. I gotta do it in this game.
I'm afraid of when that game goes on Steam sale. That's all I gotta say. You won't see me for a month.
You can't get Mantis arms in Portland.
You sure?
But you can. Sure? You can definitely adjust your penis size.
Yes. Which is funny. I totally accidentally skipped that and was like, I hit confirm too many times, so I wasn't able to do anything for my body. I only just changed my face. I'm like, I'm a terrible like white Rasta. It's terrible.
Also, a lot of the glitches are very much the Florida style, like fashion. Boobs through shirts. Hanging out of. Like, I'm not gonna touch that game until they fix the bugs.
I want to tell you the bug. I honestly, I'm playing it on PS4, and the bugs, all the talk about the graphics and the bugs is all bunk. It is totally fine game. It's actually. Okay. It's actually bogus. It's just people trying to hype and just trying to trash on the game. And I'm not saying this is like some blinders thing. I'm not trying to even say it's like, I'm blinders. I just want to hear Keanu's sweet voice all the time. I'm saying this as like legitly like people went a little overboard on being like trying to trash it on that point. The game, I mean, as long as you're playing on the newest versions of the PS4 or the Xbox, you can't play on like the first generation of versions of the 4s and the 1. You're fine. It's good. And then the PC is that's actually the best port for it, hands down for sure.
As long as you have a good PC.
Yeah. Yes. That's always the rule.
I will say, I have it on PC on like the highest settings, and it's pretty fun. I really like it a lot. It is a little, it's not glitchy, but I found like I myself have had a marathon, so I understand. I've had situations where like trees from like a kilometer away are somehow showing up in front of everything else, no matter where I go for certain instances. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like we can see through everything just to these trees. Like that doesn't make sense. Or like in a certain moment when someone takes a clip, like everyone's got a USB in the back of their fucking head, and so a guy like gives me a USB in a car, a special, it's a story moment in the main story, and when he gives it to me, his like pistol came with it, and so I saw the model of the pistol like go up into my view, and I'm like, okay, is my character just gonna have like a pistol halfway through it? The
only bugs I've seen is like when people try to eat or pick up things. That's what I get, the similar thing. That's the only bugs I've seen, but otherwise it's smooth. It's a smooth game, at least on the console side. So, but yeah, that's all I've been doing this week. So that's it. I mean, it's like I said, kind of like your same thing, getting the the holiday hangover, trying to get out of that. But it's also my birthday this weekend. This week, not weekend. This week, it was the 8th. So I didn't do anything.
Well, can we ask how old you are or were?
I was 42 and now I'm 43. So
so you were the perfect age and now you're something past.
Now I'm getting into, as my friend said, oh, you're like middle-aged 40s now. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm still on. It's the last year of the young 40s, right? I don't know.
No, I'm with you, because you know what? I'm 52 now, and I'm telling myself, well, I'm in the young 50s.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, totally. Got to do that. You got to keep it as long as you can go. The good thing about being a December baby is that I have to wait till the end of the year so I feel more youthful because of that. So if I was January, I'd be really sad.
Oh, I never thought of that as an advantage of it. Whether you're maybe a December or a January baby, your age very much coincides with the calendar year, making it very easy to calculate how old you are and stuff. Myself being an August baby, sometimes it takes a little math to figure things out, especially trying to figure out my age relative to someone else. But you're right there at the end of the year, boom, it's like easy to figure out all the time. Man, all the advantages. Plus, I'm sure all the people feeling sorry for you, they're like, oh, you're born in December and poor you, so we have to give you extra gifts, right?
Yeah, and I'm the baby of the family, so I was spoiled like nobody's business.
Oh, nice.
That explains so much.
And it
truly does explain so much.
And my middle brother is very much Jan. Is very much Jan. So
Jan?
Well, that's what middle is all about.
Jan, Marsha, Jan.
Oh.
Yeah,
when I think of Jan, I think of Jan from The Office.
Gets all the attention because they're the only one at first, and the youngest gets all the attention because they're the baby. Yeah. And everyone in the middle is just mush. Yeah, they're mush.
Afterthoughts.
Yeah.
Afterthoughts. We'll keep trying till we get it right, and then boom, the youngest happens. They're like, perfection. We're done.
I don't know. I feel like I was a little bit of an accident because yeah. My dad got the little snip after I was born, so I think they were done.
Oh, fair enough.
But they never should have told you that you were an accident, correct?
Oh, of course not. My mom always says I'm her favorite youngest son. That's what she always says.
Because Jamie was straight up told, like, oh yeah, you weren't supposed to happen.
That's awesome. So what do you besides playing games and besides going back to the games, that's pretty much all you got going on then, huh, Nick? No new articles from Blooded Kittens or anything like that recently?
Yeah, no, there was something. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it later. I don't know. I feel like I haven't heard your story of the week or Jeremy's story of the week, which probably involves whiskey or bourbon or something. But I just want to hear that story.
His pretty quickly.
It should. Yeah. Mine is unfortunately, like everybody else, I've taken a little bit of a break for the holidays and a little bit of time off. I've kind of been lost in the land of shadow a little bit myself, and am now just kind of to peek my head out, and so I broke my my radio silence earlier this week by doing an unboxing of the wonderful. Let's see if we got it right here.
Oh, they give you a mat.
They give me a mat, yes. So the hobby box from Frontline Gaming came to my doorstep earlier this week. It's funny, actually, my wife messaged me at work and she goes, "Oh, something just arrived for you." And they just threw it, and whatever it is, it's totally obvious what it is. And so I look in the camera, and that was the box, how it came, right? Just, I'm like, oh man, I better rush home and get that before one of the kids on the street snags it, just because it looks, hobby box. I can imagine some kid going, "Oh, what's that?" Who knows? So, anyways, I got home and did my unboxing and had a bunch of fun. And I do need to mention, when I did the unboxing, I opened up, and inside, like, there was a ton of stuff, but one of the things was this down here. Oh, here it is. Oh man.
I feel like we need an intermission.
Yeah.
There it is.
He's leaning over. He's doing something. He's
I hope I didn't give everyone a butt crack shot. It's a massive stack of like MDF stuff, and there was like some counters, and there's some kind of orc terrain building. And as I was unpacking it during the live unboxing, I was like, oh no, I'm missing a piece, right? And I thought maybe I was missing a piece to the building. Well, I'm not. In fact, this is part of a paint rack, and it makes 2 paint racks total, and then those pieces would be used if you were going to make a 3rd paint rack out of the pieces. And actually, Frankie messaged me this morning letting me know exactly that. He's like, "Hey, John, thanks for doing the unboxing video. And I just want to let you know that those pieces that you thought were missing actually are not supposed to be there. They're out of there on purpose, blah, blah, blah. So don't worry." I was like, okay, that's cool. And he goes, "And by the way, Creature Caster has come through with their miniature, and we're shipping that directly to you and everybody else that got a hobby box. And so I got some kind of Creature Caster model coming in addition to all the stuff that I showed on the hobby unboxing later."
Did they tell you what kind of Creature Caster you were going to get?
Oh, what, some orc something? I don't know.
Oh shit! Okay, that's one of their new ones. It's like
Is it?
Yeah, it's like a
And that
female
matches
orc
with some of
chieftain.
the orc models. They had some Cromlech orc stuff in there too. So yeah, overall, pretty happy with that. So that honestly, that is pretty much all that's been in my phase. I actually brought my last pepper plant of the year into the garage and set up a grow lamp. It's pretty amazing, with all the home growers nowadays in California. You can just go down to Home Depot and pick up a grow lamp. So I set one up for my pepper plant, and it was this pepper plant that I started earlier this year. It's a plant from Peru that actually takes 2 years before it starts producing actual peppers. And the peppers it produces are not like peppers, they're like tomatoes. So imagine a super hot pepper, but when you eat it, the flesh is juicy and thick, like eating a beefsteak tomato or something. So I figured it was well worth the effort to spend a couple years to get that going. And then earlier today, I came home and I got another package in the mail, and it was some beneficial insects that I just released. So actually earlier, I released a bunch of these little miniature Australian ladybugs and beneficial wasps inside my garage to take care of any pests that were still on that pepper plant as I brought it in from outside. So that's also been in my phase. And if the next time you see me, my face is all swollen up, it turns out because those beneficial wasps were not as harmless as I thought they were. So how about you, Jeremy, my friend? What has been in your phase this last few weeks?
To disappoint Nick, I haven't had scotch for like 2 weeks or any actual alcohol, to be honest.
What?
The one thing I have had that I guess you can classify as hard alcohol, because I had to fucking try it, was PBR hard coffee. It was like
hard coffee.
Yeah, it basically tasted like a cold brew latte. That's what it was. It was just like a cold latte with 5% alcohol. It was actually not bad, but they're crazy expensive. They're like $12 for like a 4-pack. They're for PBR, that's a little pricey, but I just had to try it because I was like, PBR hard coffee in Portland, that's got to be like the most like Portland grimy shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
No, it would have to be an Olympia.
Jeremy, I'll help you out, my friend. I didn't talk about what I was drinking, but I've actually discovered something amazing as I've switched from my normal whiskey drinking ways to holiday foo-foo, because I do love some holiday foo-foo drinks. And this Di Sardano Velvet Cream Liqueur, it is basically Amaretto Di Sardano mixed with Bailey's cream in a bottle, ready to go. It is so good. Oh, it is like dangerous to drink.
I can't. Anytime I see any alcoholic drink that looks like milk, just like kind of just gives me bad vibes.
Yeah.
But what's in my phase? Outside of basically drinking some really weird PBR hard coffee, I finished most of my patio outside because I took a 2-week vacation break right before Thanksgiving to just basically do nothing because there's nowhere to go. Can't do
Play WoW.
anything.
Play World of Warcraft. That's what
Play World of Warcraft. I finished my patio, and I got some more sisters painted up. I'm really looking forward to actually playing an actual real fucking game of 40K, outside of my house one of these days. Because so far I feel like I've been in a constant like a bit. I feel like what happens when like a drug kickpin gets sent to jail, but it's like basically like first class hotel. Like that's how I feel like.
You mean like Daredevil 2? I think that's
You're in a minimum security prison.
White collar prison.
So you feel like Martha Stewart is what you're trying to say. Is what you're trying to say.
Oh man, that would be amazing. I could be dating Snoop Dogg.
Wait, hold on.
He's back.
Hold on.
No, he's back.
Yeah,
He's back.
It was a technical glitch. It was my fault. There we go.
Okay.
Oh.
He's just. I'm sure it was a technical issue for the audience at home.
Oh, yeah, because I totally thought you were going to do something bad, and I had to mute you on purpose.
I know you're canceling your Pornhub because you can't use MasterCard anymore. I know that's what's happening.
It's because he linked his Pornhub account to his OnlyFans account using MasterCard, so he really had to solve that problem.
Is it really the MasterCard if you can't use it to get to Pornhub, though?
It's Visa. Visa and MasterCard yesterday announced that they won't be accepting. You can't use it on Pornhub anymore. They won't allow it.
That's okay. Venmo has a card.
Yeah.
Are you trying to say that you changed? You had to switch some accounts?
Sometimes direct deposit's necessary. I don't know.
That's
but
too
wait,
many knows.
I mean,
that's too many.
I feel old school. I feel like I should be like doing OnlyFans. But
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm 43 now. Got to do what you got to do.
Dear Penthouse.
If every single person who has been on any season of 90 Day Fiance can have an OnlyFans, then you can. Yeah.
No, I'm not having it. I'm saying for other people.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, no.
I thought it was just like,
No, I can't. If I could mod myself like Cyberpunk, then maybe, but not this case.
I will say, talking about Cyberpunk, so I haven't even touched the game yet. But since I heard Nick basically give raving reviews, which is something, by the way, if you know anything about Nick, is literally impossible. So either this is an imposter or it must be really fucking good.
I did not give it raving reviews. I said I'm having fun with it. I'm having.
Honestly, we could have a whole ass episode on just that game. Like it's pretty good, but it's not like
okay.
I'm literally. I mean, it's a good sign of a good open world game is that you're avoiding doing the main quest, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm like,
Skyrim-ish.
Yeah, so I'm like, this is fun, and just you can literally just walk the city and be like, just randomly just walk and just garbage hunt for stuff. That could be just a whole game in itself. So it's just fun. It's fun. It's good.
Outside of all of those things, I was awoken to tap back by reality of the outside world by an article on the website we all talked about called Blood of Kittens. Nice
segue. I appreciate the segue.
I had no idea like this happened. So, typically I do a renting period here at this moment. But you know what? I would think we're going to be renting a lot, so maybe not. But I will say short TLDR, and I don't want to, nobody take that seriously, but scummy players still scummy. It doesn't really change. It's like what happens is you can't put lipstick on a pig and call it something else effectively. But anyway, let's segue into it. Alex, take it from the top.
Yeah, Of course, and I will actually say I'm a little cautious going into this episode, knowing that you haven't been drinking a lot of alcohol. If Jeremy's not buzzed or just drunk, I'm concerned on how this show's going to go.
Maybe he wants a serious, in-depth discussion about the truths in Warhammer 40K competitive play. Just wants to just dive in and just like have like a TED talk about it. Maybe that's what's
Nick,
maybe that's what he wants.
Nick, I'm gonna share with you something, and I want your reaction rather than telling everyone about it. But this is something that I think encapsulates what I have seen in the competitive scene with this. And
is it a meme?
Of course,
it's a meme.
He's actually going to act it out using hand signs.
I read that would be sweet. That I want to see.
Okay, so you could check your messenger there. That'll give you good context.
But not good content.
Yeah, let's see here. What do I got? Is it my text message or Facebook?
You can
Messenger.
Why don't you share that with the rest of the audience?
Facebook Messenger? No.
Why don't you?
You're
just
in
put it
command.
up
You could
I
literally make the whole screen be that.
No, why don't you do it? I'm saying do a kabuki of it.
Oh, to a kabuki of it. Oh, well, let's just say that it goes in a certain order.
Yes, I've seen. Yes.
Okay.
I've seen this.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't seen that first guy. I don't remember that first guy is.
Do you know who the first one is?
I can't remember. Is it Adepticon guy? Oh, yes. Now
No.
I zoomed in. I've zoomed into the face. Okay. Yes, I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
Yes, that's good.
Okay.
Is
Wonderful.
Alex number 4?
No, I'm absolutely not number 4.
I'm so disappointed. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
It's okay. It's a meme. It's just basically showing it's like I said. It's basically a meme. I'll do it since Alex can't do it. It's basically a meme encapsulating a TED talk about the degenerates in Warhammer 40K.
I've sent it to our internal Discord. It's the simple brain to galaxy brain
yes.
meme.
Yes.
Starts with a certain unnamed individual, then goes to Barnyard Brawl, then goes to 3 certain individuals, then goes to Art of War.
I did see that one. That one was pretty funny. In fact, like for the audience, here we go.
That's only 2. That's only
good
half
enough.
of it.
That's good enough.
I'll work on it.
That'll be the.
Oh my God.
I enjoy the flashing.
I hate it so much. For all of our audience that are not watching the vidcast, this is not going to make any sense to you. But of course,
we explain
and if you're watching, it's marginal whether that made any sense.
Very true.
Yes.
Very true.
So let's have some context here, because Nick, you did write a really good article. I'm actually a big fan of your writing. You have this level of shit talkery, which is not just like completely. It's never, in my opinion, and it's always subjective. It's never off base, but some people can be very brash. Some people can be a little bit more poetic, and I actually appreciate the fact that you are. You will have these stinging lines where I'm just like reading it, and I'm like, I don't even live over there, but oh shit, I felt that. Of course, we are talking about an event that happened over the weekend that caused a lot of controversy. It was the Per Aspera Ironman GT in Tallahassee, or no, not Tallahassee. Tallahassee, Florida. And it happened. There was essentially 5 rounds for Saturday, 5 rounds for Sunday. I don't want to get into all of it right now. There was some controversy involved, as all of us would fucking expect, especially it being a GT in this certain era. I don't want to say certain things to throw our YouTube algorithm off, but because I just realized that saying certain things will completely destroy your algorithm. But yeah, things happened, right? And we, of course, are in a year where there's not a lot of events going on. So when there's a controversy, we are sticking to it even more than we normally would. But of course, I'm as I myself as well as Jeremy. I don't know if John, if you share the same thing, but like my main switch for several years to AOS, eventually going back to having a balance of both games of 40K and AOS. But my main switch from 40K to AOS went from some like egregious, let's say Midwestern cheating that was going on rampantly, and other individuals who just were not playing by the book, playing below the table, and getting away with it scot-free. And I was just like, well, fuck this. And
and having, you remember, that is literally why I stopped playing competitive 40K and switched whole hog to AOS. It was that same year that was first Adepticon, and then a couple other major GTs, all plagued by the same group of individuals that year. And I lost a taste for that. And there was this amazing game AOS that came out at the same time. So,
and it's also like, but your first mistake was going to Adepticon. That was probably maybe your first mistake, but maybe you got enlightened by it. So I mean,
I didn't go. I didn't go. I didn't personally suffer under any of this cheating. Just realizing that it's out there, and that people are going to those lengths to win a game with toys. like no, it's a game with toys, guys. We're playing toy army men in an adult sandbox. Like, come on.
I think a lot of people forget that sometimes that John hasn't played in this hobby as long as some of us have. That's why it's just like, it's that kind of like, for a lot of like newer people who into the hobby, like that stuff like that always like it throws them for a loop, because they're like, well, I heard, but I've never experienced it, or like people have told me, oh, it's not that bad, and then you hear like, this becomes part of the zeitgeist, and all of a sudden like it throws a whole wrench into like the willingness of especially newcomers or newer people to come to like bigger events like this, right? They without not taking the risk becomes a problem effectively. So
yeah, and I agree, and yeah, John, I just didn't want to speak for you. I was certain with Jeremy. I wasn't fully certain with you, but I'm glad. Yeah, we definitely have had those conversations. So of course there's
wait, what does it say about me? Because I've gotten honestly more hardcore into 40K since this has all started. So I don't know. What does that say? I don't.
That you're a masochist?
Yeah. Well,
considering you haven't played enough AOS yet.
Whoa.
Oh my god! Did you see the meme of the bird? It was like, I hate AOS. Yeah. It's fucking cracker. It's like, I love this.
I was gonna mention Nick has a blog that does a lot of reporting of set facts. So I think it's not that he's getting more into 40K. He's just like, give me more of this drama. Give it to me.
Yeah, this year's been light on drama, honestly, and which is fine. Yeah. I rather just report the stuff that's above board all the time. But I mean, sometimes I just have to, I mean, I think back in the old day when I first started the blog, I would have to say, I'd probably have a rant maybe at least once a month about something. I mean, but
sure.
In my old age, it has to like, I get DMs all the time being like, you need to talk about this. And I'm like, this isn't to the level of like, really needs, it's really like people just like, it's like, this is some local stuff where you're just mad at someone at your local store, like, no. It has to be big time. It has to be like, people that everyone knows. It has to be something that like actually affects the community at large, for me to actually rant at this point about something. So in all honesty, there's fewer and fewer, each time the game for 40K, at least from my perspective, is self-corrected itself. And, I think I'm, not to toot my own horn, but a small portion of what I do is about making that bullhorn go off a little louder so that people recognize their bad behavior and change it. And I have to say 9 out of 10 times, it's either the player, I've talked to someone recently about this, is that 9 out of 10 times, what I do and what the community does, either that player leaves the hobby, and that's good. We don't want that player around. But the other 9 times, those people realize their mistakes and they make changes and they become better people. Like, I mean, we can name names, but like the couple years ago when we had the big thing at LVO, the guy that just he didn't cheat, but he was just really underhanded. He totally dissolved himself of all the bad people that were giving him bad advice, and he's a totally chill guy, and he was just young and stupid. So, as people, as long as they grow and, improve your behavior, I think it's all for the good. Just take your lumps for when you do something stupid and then, get back up. And, this hobby's great. It's, it's very forgiving in that sense.
Yeah.
Unless
it takes a village to raise a child. Sorry,
was that? Unless you're what?
Unless you
retire,
retired,
yes.
because you were a professional 40K player.
K player, yes.
Yeah.
That's different. So like I said, that's the 1 out of 10. That's the 1 out of 10. And that guy leaves, and we're better for that, But yeah, that was a special case. I'm sure people are like, "Who the hell are you talking about?" We don't want to tell you who we're
It
talking
doesn't
about.
matter.
I have to
It doesn't
disagree,
matter.
Nick, because
Doesn't matter.
your analogy
Doesn't
was
matter.
way too perfect world. I would say, 1 out of 10, that person leaves the community, and maybe 7 or 8 out of 10 people, as I was about to say, takes a village to raise a child. People change their behavior. They fall into community pressure. But then there's still that 1 or 2 out of 10 that continue to play the game and continue to be douchebags.
Yep.
And we see them popping up again
Yeah.
and again. And I have to know that you have repeat offenders for your dire eye, as it were.
I personally really, really hope that, Nick, that you have a shit list, and that it's a living document, a living
Actual
Google.
list.
Let me tell. It's gonna go when I pass away and on my coffin. I'll have it like on top of my body side. That's my
The
plan.
burn book.
My burn book. Yeah. People will be like, "Wow, he remembers this guy Dash Up Pepper. Who was that?" They'll be like, "Oh, I don't remember."
Ooh.
Ooh.
Just
now we're
just
naming
like Neil Gaiman burned all the manuscripts of the Wheel of Time Writer right after he
Oh.
passed away.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, you didn't
that
know
was
that?
his-
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
a dying wish, right? Wasn't it his dying
Yeah, it
wish?
was his dying request. That was his
Yeah,
dying
yeah.
request.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, I did
Yeah.
not know
Someone
that.
could finish writing the
That
series
sounds like a
anyways.
whole nother podcast of itself.
I'm sure
That
it
being
is.
said, this event was in Tallahassee, Florida. So Florida, I think that I'm not going to spoil the article because I want people to click on Nick's link. But he has a very great line that is very explicit. And if you live in Florida, I'm sorry, like you it comes with the territory. You should be aware of anything else. But if we lose followers, we lose followers. This event was the Per Aspera double Ironman event. There was a double Ironman Saturday and a double Ironman Sunday. Now, the tricky situation with this is that it was a GT, barely met the requirements for being a GT, but still was a GT. And they were 5 rounds for day 1 and 5 rounds for day 2. And if anyone's played 5 rounds of 40K in one day, it is truly an Ironman, which the Ironman style event is actually not that uncommon. I would say, like, it's not like you never see just like one. You see like
For an
a
RTT, it's
handful.
common.
Yeah, for an RTT,
Yeah.
it's really common, and that's the way they had to play this, right?
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
it's clearly working around the rules that have been set up by the ITC to try to farm points clearly. But John, as normal, when we talk about an event, we don't have to go all in on the top lists. Right now, we don't want to go into the top list. We don't want to go into top placings for day 1 and day 2 because they are separate. But as always, you're the guy to talk to when it comes to taking a look at the packet, taking a look at the guidelines and the rules. Can you tell us a little bit about this event?
Sure. So, interestingly enough, unlike Age of Sigmar, which every TO still has to make a highly tailored event, when it comes to 40K, especially ITC 40K, there is strong leadership still coming from Frontline Gaming. And so everybody is playing with a standardized mission pack. Everybody is playing with sort of standardized rules of conduct and other things surrounding that, including how scoring and all of these things are handled. So I'm seeing some pretty standardized play. I saw nothing special going on as far as rules and what have you. Now, the one thing that was interesting, like I said, this is an Ironman event. And you guys may or may not remember a couple years ago, I ran a 1-day GT for Age of Sigmar. That was actually I think the second year that we had. It was our first edition. But there for Age of Sigmar, I ran 1,000 points, which is one of the standard play sizes, and 80-minute rounds. So even though we played 5 games in a day, it was a lot less endurance thing than playing, 2,000 points, full games of 40K. Now, the only thing I can imagine, though, is in today's meta of 40K, I imagine a lot of games end quick. I know when I'm playing 40K nowadays, somebody is usually crushed and off the table by turn 3, or certainly the game is pretty one-sided by that point and goes pretty quick. So it's not like the slugfest that we had back in 7th edition, 8th edition, where these games really would have ran a lot longer. I think nowadays with 9th edition, everything's super killy and the games go a lot faster. So it's it's still a slugfest, but not as big of a deal to play that. Other than that, standard stuff. So good stuff. Now, the one thing that I was surprised at is they did go for 2 GTs. So it's 2 different GTs, which I guess does give you the opportunity to have 2 different scores, as opposed to going for 1 10-round GT, which would have been amazing for one person to win as far as overall multipliers.
I would give them all the points if they did that, honestly.
Yeah. So other than that, what about you guys? What do you guys think about the event? And certainly there were some interesting winners and lists and all that. So I'll hand it over for that.
Who wants? If we're staying above
Jeremy,
board,
Nick?
Jeremy.
Let's go with Jeremy. Jeremy hasn't talked in a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to point out that list and tournament aside, the event was advertised exactly as they delivered exactly what they advertised. They said, let's have a long, bitter event for those ITC points.
Bitter events. Did you actually expect me to read that? Okay, I'll read that just for the record.
Please.
It has been a long, bitter, eventless year. So let's have a long, bitter event for those ITC points. A true Iron Man event. 5 rounds Saturday and 5 rounds Sunday. Awards for best general, best painted, best sportsman, and plus a special prize for anyone crazy enough to last all 10 rounds. $50 for 1 day, $80 for 2.
So there was an award system for 10 rounds. That's why I was like, I wonder what it was. Like, was it just like, I don't know, an IV bag and some
tiger balm, a big thing of tiger balm, maybe?
I think it was a vaccine of some sort. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, right.
No. It's Florida.
I'll be honest. At least while this sounded a lot like Fire Festival, at least it actually happened. So
that's true.
Yeah, but there was no Ja Rule. Oh wait, you know what? There was a Ja Rule. There was a Ja Rule. I am so sorry. For any of our audience who doesn't know, Fire Festival was a festival, and maybe for John, I don't know, John, if you know. I don't know if Jeremy knows. Okay, I don't know.
You don't know it, no?
You're the one who doesn't want us to tell you about it.
No, a lot of young Generation Z people got tricked into a really rich young children got tricked into a stupid Bahamas event. Let's call it an event. It was supposed to be in a Coachella, but it was a nightmare.
Yes.
And there's 2, not 1, 2 documentaries. One on Hulu, one on Netflix. If you need to.
Honestly, the Hulu one's better. The Hulu one's better.
I think, the Netflix one's a little more sensational. The Hulu one's more down the road documentary. True.
The Hulu one also gets the actual guy on it, and he has like a phone call from prison at the same time as the interview.
Yeah,
and it's like, and it's his like wife, and it's a whole fucking mess.
Well, Nick, we have a lot of recording equipment. You want to make a documentary about this event?
That requires you to go to Florida, though.
Yeah, well, Florida, it's like $50 to go there, so maybe I can. But the problem is I can't get to the airport for where I live because it's just not allowed. So I have to get through that point. So I have to get through the Bay Area checkpoints to get to that. So that's the problem,
Come on, Governor.
Yeah,
I'm going for a good of the warmer community.
Yeah, right. I'm sure that would fly.
That's rough. I have to cross a county line to get to work every day, and sometimes they don't want to let me through. They're like, I don't know. You don't look like you belong in Alameda.
Are you essential? Can you give me your essential badge?
Yeah. I say I'm essential.
So wait, do we want to talk? I can talk about the list if you actually want to talk about you want to talk about the legit part, or did you actually look at the list, Jeremy, at all?
I looked at all the 6, the top 3 lists of each event.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty standard fare to me for what the meta is, don't you think?
I have a question. No, actually, I don't know.
No, let Jeremy talk.
Fuck me then.
I'm trying to pitch it to him. Jesus.
So the Saturday event had like very traditional meta list. The Sunday event was not traditional meta list. For at least for what I've seen for 9th edition. The Saturday one, without going too much in details, I played against all of them effectively since I've been back into 40K for 9th edition. It doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is that the person who won with the White Scar list got so far, because that army has some fundamental flaws in 9th edition. I don't know. Maybe he just plays very well, which is very, very, telling of his record and so forth. But like,
or maybe it could be also sometimes the path in which he takes to get those 5 wins.
might
have something to do with
his opponents.
Yeah,
Maybe he just got very good matchup every round. I'm just pointing at that double Vanguard White Scar list is basically we'll just say it's like a leaf blower by melee attack list, and it doesn't do well if it just doesn't punch. And there's a lot of lists in the 9th edition meta where it just does not punch, and it just basically loses the game. And it's gonna get completely removed by Death Guard. Like they ignore 1 damage, and like your Thunder Hammers are 1 damage. Good fucking luck, or 3 damage.
It's the plasma eliminators, which is the linchpin unit for his army. Like he can't kill any Death Guard. So
he doesn't even have plasma eliminators in his list. On his list. Nope.
No, he didn't. He got rid of plasma. Oh, I assumed it was. Interesting, yeah, because I assumed.
Sorry. He has plasma inceptors.
That's what I meant. Yeah, I meant inceptors.
Okay, I was just like, I thought you were talking about the Hell Blasters.
No. He doesn't ever have those. Yeah. No, I meant the flying guys. Sorry.
Yeah, they're not gonna. If Death Guard becomes a resurgent, I mean that list is. I don't see it doing well. But I'm still happy to see Harlequins, but I refuse to play them, Nick. I've played them for so fucking long, but they're so fucking popular, and I want to be my unique butterfly.
I know you want to be the butterfly.
No.
For fuck's sake. Yeah, I want to be my unique butterfly, but they're fucking everywhere.
For the audience, I think, I've known Jeremy for so long, and I think my first connection to Jeremy is as a kindred spirit. We are definitely special butterflies. We want to be special butterflies when we play this game. And so that's my connection to Jeremy. So I understand completely why you want to be a special butterfly, because I always want to be a special butterfly. I get it.
But isn't this your special butterfly?
What?
He doesn't play Chaos Space Marines.
He's rubbing his chest, Nick.
Oh,
this is not okay, John. You have not linked your fucking OnlyFans, so let them pay for that content.
Everybody knows what that's about. That's the inner circle right there.
Let them pay for that content. Anyways, so I gotta say,
the good thing is John will have his codex out next probably month or two, so he might actually get back into 40K himself. Look at that. Woo.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm like a hardcore Necron player nowadays.
Oh. So you're already better than Alex then? That's
yes.
Good.
That's what I have to deal with, people. That's what I have to deal with every week. Generally.
Poor Alex.
Yes. This is my cross to bear. I am a victim. So anyways, it was a Saurian Spite Harlequin list for second. Third was a R. Snyder and Adeptus Custodes. I really, honestly, I don't give a shit about the list because the controversy is more important than that. But I will say the 17-man 5-round event that happened, 16-man, which is a part of the controversy as well, because one person definitely had no scores found, and it was a well-known individual. But for the first 2 factions are the only 2 40K armies I still have for Sunday. It was Knight Renegades and the Necrons.
Yeah. There you go.
So how the fuck a Knight Renegades player played even a 16-person event and won 5 rounds is beyond me. But
that's definitely a matchup. There's been a couple. I mean, since I track the things, there's been a couple. They can, especially with this, the fact there's only 16 players gives it an advantage. It's really that this does become a matchup situation for them, obviously. But if they can rock stuff, then they're also a good counter to a lot of the medalists as well. So there's
is it pure Knights? I mean, how are you scoring with that list? I mean, it just seems.
Well, he's taking
it's 3 Knights. It's a Despoiler, Rampager, and a Desecrator. And then it's 2 Moiraxes, and then another War Dog squadron of one that's the Thermal Lance style and one that's the Helverin style.
So I think those lists, it's like he's denying a lot of points still, even though he's Knights. You're giving up Titan Slayer, of course, but he's denying everything else. He's always grinding them down, so he's going to get max points for that. For he's killing everyone's, he's going to get, he's taking that secondary. Then it becomes about he's taking then probably engage in all fronts because he's still fast. He's going to be in their grill because he's Chaos Knights. And then the last one is probably the one he's just dictating what list he's playing against. and that's the last secondary, and that's where he could get into trouble. Because if he doesn't pick that right last one, depending on who he's facing, then he could be out some secondaries. But for the most part, he's denying a lot, and he's only giving up that Titan Slayer is really the big thing. But then also it's kind of depending on what list you're playing, you might be lulled into doing that and not realize you're getting your face stomped by turn 3 and you don't get enough points even for that. So
yeah, because in that list, since you're not going to be necessarily scoring high secondaries, if he's preventing you from scoring primaries, you're more likely to lose than win. Which is like that's the only way to play nice is by robbing your opponent of secondaries and making sure they can't score primary points either.
Yeah. Plus, also the base size is a big deal because that actually can block out the 3
Yeah.
inches from on the objective too. So
Yeah.
you actually can.
Yeah,
crank.
interesting. That'll make sense. I can see how that happening.
Yeah, but
Oops, sorry, go for it.
No. Go ahead. You're saying
I was going to
something
say, no, I was going to say, John, since you're more of an expert at Dark Angels, I mean Necrons, maybe you should read the second player's list.
Oh, I honestly
you're
do
the
not have the
Necron.
lists up in front of me. Otherwise, if I was cool enough.
Well, I do, and I play
Do
Necrons.
it. In fact, I challenge you to do it in my style of reading.
Okay, I'm going to try my best John impression, but I do want to
can't-
let Jeremy know that he's actually talking to 3 Necron players here.
It's not.
100% has a COVID Necron project.
I have a Necron army too.
Oh, fuck, I said it. So there goes
You
the
play.
I have one too. I even have battle reports.
We are Necrons. No,
Oh, yeah,
but the reason
you have the army too.
We've all
we
been
are making
consumed.
we are making a joke because the second place player is actually a Dark Angel list that was registered as a Necron player, which is
Oh,
Oh,
funny.
you fucking serious? Wow.
yeah. I didn't even know that.
I didn't know this
Oh.
either. This is a new.
I didn't know
lesson.
this either. So wait. For the record, all 3 of us thought Jeremy was going a different direction than you.
Whoa.
yeah. I was like, come on. It was
So
gonna
that's
be
the first. So that's the big controversy. So that's what your article was all about. Was this big
Yeah.
controversy?
Yeah.
Over the guy
Holy
registering,
shit.
trying to get top Necron points when he's really playing with a badass Dark Angels list.
I mean,
Oh,
technically,
yeah,
until
Devious.
Garrett fixes that, he 100% will get scored for Necrons.
I mean,
Wow.
unless it's an error and that's not his list. He's playing the Death Wing with some Raven Wing and then a lot of ATVs and Eradicators, and that's it. He's got
the
6
ATVs.
He's got 6 Deathwing Knights. He's got Azrael.
The very
he's got-
explicit list to explicitly copy and paste in an explicit tournament.
It's just either way, it's definitely not Necron.
Well, that was far from some of the shenanigans that happened here at this event.
Well, I'm gonna write a second article now about that. or I'm gonna text Paul McKelvey. He needs to change it right now.
Paul's
Yeah,
on
you get-
top of that.
No,
Yeah.
Paul's not on top of that.
No, I know he's that. That's why I always text Paul because I know he has to tell someone else when he knows I could just tell the one person to should do it. I only do it
So
to
much
just
better.
torture. It's just torturing Paul. That's all the whole goal of me ever doing that every time.
You ever seen that meme of Pablo Escobar, like or the guy from
Narcos?
the Mexican drug Narcos, where he's
Yeah.
just like sitting outside, like that's why I imagine Paul working at Besco's pairing, just like waiting for anything. So I'm sure your emails are like a boon to his day.
Yeah.
Well,
with,
besides,
COVID, with COVID, yes, probably.
he's like, "What you doing, Paul?" But of course, there was controversy, like any good event would have, and we of course had you on today, Nick, specifically to talk a little bit about that, and
Wait,
again, you did.
Are you using me? I thought you were just for all friends. You wanted me on to talk about 40K.
You can use your friends.
We knew Garrett wouldn't be here, and you were the closest we could find to Garrett. How's that?
Oh
Oh.
no! Nick is many things. Nick is not a code monkey.
We didn't get very close.
Yeah, okay. We have a margin of error of like 40%. But of course, you wrote this article about some controversies, and we could all give our own versions of it. And rather than play a little game of telephone, can you tell us a little bit about, or tell our audience rather, about some of the things that you had discovered with this event?
Well, I had no idea what was going on. I actually check every week to see like what GTs are going on, because I usually like to write an article about GTs once a week, about what came on. And I looked and I just didn't think about it, because I was like, oh, this is only one day. I was like, oh, okay. And then I started getting the DMs, and I started getting some certain Facebook groups that will be nameless start talking about it, and stuff started breaking loose, and everyone was kind of tight-lipped about it because it was in a certain group, which I think someone maybe on this channel is in that group, might know more. So that group started saying, but then it was still under the hush-hush until it came out, and basically it's just a cavalcade, a Slanesh cavalcade of just woe and ennui that was just like, it was like a confluence. Like there's usually like, if an event has one bad thing, I'm going to be like, whatever, bad stuff happens for an event. But it was like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I'm exaggerating. It was like 3 or 4. But anyway, so we have the classic, which has been going on forever. And this is something this is like probably the main gripe people talk about, because it's the most obvious and blatant, is the fact that they had an event where they had people enough were registered for this GT. I think they had I think on the website it says like 37 or something like that, but it ended up being that because of a certain thing going on in this universe that's causing people not to hang out with each other. When the actual day of the event happened, they only had like 25, 26, something around there. That's the story goes. And so they had to basically phone a friend and get people to come down and play. I think it was the day of. I think when the actual event happened, it was actually 30 players actually were there, but they had to like scramble the last 24 hours to fill in to make sure they had GT status. And of course, those people came. This is the part where this is where I am speculating. I didn't put it in the article, but I'm going to speculate. I'm curious on how many people actually paid the $30 or $40 it was for that one day to get up to that number. But anyway, so they scrambled, they got enough players. And of course, those players promptly after game 1 decided to bug out and drop you below the GT status, which is 28 players. I think they were down to 24, 25, or maybe 26. But they were well below, and they lost like 5 players after game 1 and proceeded to lose more players as the game went on. It's an Ironman, so that makes sense for the lucky players, but like the instant drop was kind of the red flag started the whole situation. And then it quickly devolved into the second big problem was that they had a ringer, which is known as Brian Siegler, but is actually Richard Siegler. And that was a little a mini controversy within a controversy, because he was trying to be jokey and having a fake name, because I guess there's this internet meme about him being confused with the Brian Poulin. So whatever, I don't care. We can believe that side of the story. But regardless, this ringer was and typically ringers, and John would know since running events as well, and all of us would know that a ringer would normally play a bad person, or the person that's lost, or a latecomer just came in, was after pairings. You have the ringer go and
maybe a
fight
teaching game to a new player.
Right? Yeah. So that's the standard.
And their score wouldn't count. They might not even be registered.
Right.
Shouldn't be registered.
Registered, really. I mean, they could be registered technically they are playing a game. So technically, under the rules of ITC, once again, technically they could be registered so that you can maybe get to 28 players, say, for GT status. You might want to do that, something like that, possibly.
Even out pairings if there's an player.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so makes sense. But he should not be, like you said, the scoring. You can put the scoring, if the app has forced you to do it, whatever, you put a 0 or whatever it is every time. But instead, this person was scoring max points or whatever close to max points he needed. And in doing so, was able to take out people that might have had a chance against other top players that may have probably and did win this event. Now, those are the two just kind of blatant, like in your face, like, okay, these are bad things going on, bad things. And then when my article gets in and I do some speculating, and honestly, this is just, you can, if you want to get legalese, you could maybe say the word hearsay. I don't know if you want to use that word. It doesn't really define it.
I object.
You object. Yeah. People like to use that. I noticed that when I post an article and it's dramarific, people like to just become, Rudy Giuliani all of a sudden and just throw out legal terms and do stuff like that, So anyway, we're just going to leave it at that. But anyway, so the problem is that the team that basically the runner of the event was a member of Brohammer, which is the team that had this Richard Siegler character in there. Also had the most, I think the majority of the players were Brohammer. I don't know, maybe half or something. I mean, we can look it up to be more precise, but a lot of them were Brohammer. So it kind of gave this illusion and this visual of that the whole event was basically Operation Brohammer farming points, because the guy that won the event was at the time only 30 or 40 points behind being number 1 ITC. Now, if you want to get that layer cake, on top of a layer cake, you add in Art of War, which is a coaching service / YouTube / Twitch / Patreon / whatever business model for 40K that's based in Florida, has all these top Brohammer players, including Nick Nanavati, who is the founder and organizer of it, and is generally typically a very good guy. So anyway, he also, side note, he also played in the event as well, dropped after getting 3 as well. Who knows why that was, but anyway, he was at the event. So this extra layer of the idea of what I put in the article in it, if they want to admit to it, they can admit to it, but I think it's kind of just blatantly obvious to me personally, as I keep on saying, personally, I don't have like a recording of it saying that this is what their plan was, but it looked kind of obvious that if you can have the last 3 ITC #1 40K players in the world on your coaching staff, would be a pretty big deal, even though this year is kind of a stupid year because of various reasons, obviously. But to have that as a marketing pitch is pretty awesome if you're having a coaching service. So
it's a technicality too, because like you said, everybody playing this year knows there's a quotation around the winner of this year. But in 3 or 4 years, when you just say former ITC champion,
yeah,
it has marketability.
Right. So there's just a lot of layers here that you can just go into. But like I said, the first 2 things with the going under the count and then also the ringer issue, that's really the 2 main ones that people brought up. And that's the ones you should be highlighting because they're provable. The mea culpa from everyone has happened from all of them admitting to all that. And that's why the event has been doxxed. My extra layers of adding on the drama and the subtext, which I think is pretty obvious to me, just because I'm a cynical person is why it's obvious to me, is pretty clear. And of course, everyone's going to deny that portion of it. And that's fine because
you're really fun at parties.
Yeah. That's true. I can be fun at parties until I get tired and have to go to sleep. But so that's basically the gist of it. In my article kind of just exploits that in a very verbose, I like to say sometimes lyrical, poetic way that Alex alluded to. So that's basically that story. That's the nice version of it. I can make it even meaner if I want.
That's a real nice version of it, actually.
Yeah, isn't it?
That was the most
you have to say,
version.
When your team is going to be the majority of an event or all in an event, you at that point automatically are going to be under scrutiny. And at that point, everything you do needs to be that much further above the board. We'll point to in Age of Sigmar a couple years ago. You guys will remember our friends on the East Coast. We saw a lot of of events where it was every single person in the event was the same team, and again and again and again. We're like, what are they farming? And we come to find out, no, actually, it's just that's everybody who goes to that store, and that's the only store in the area, is all part of the team, and so it was all pretty legit. But in this case, perhaps it wasn't quite like that. And so I would say that. Do you guys feel, and I'll always put it there, first off, that was this event intended from the beginning to be a farming event to create this? Or are we looking at a thing where something happened organically and then somebody took advantage of it?
Well, okay, John, go on, Jeremy.
Good question. Go ahead.
I want to say it. Every major event that basically advertises ITC in its description, it's about ITC points. As a side note, right? The primary event of the event is to play Warhammer, have like good games, enjoy yourself, make an event out of it. And then the secondary nature of it for a small, usually typically a niche audience of that event, is the ITC point element, right? This event wasn't for the 40K. It was for ITC point. It's literally the second sentence in the description of the event. So you can't really, it's hard to make an argument that this was about 40K. Like, if this was about 40K, almost all of these players, by the way, which, there's 3 of them which are Brohammer, but they're not listed as Brohammer in the team event or the team and the team association. They even show up to the Sunday event because the math worked out. They were like, cool, mission accomplished. We don't even have to come play the next day. They're probably too hungover anyway, if I know anything about a certain Art of War player. But the point is, for it's, I'm gonna sound really bad. I'm sorry, guys. So I edited this out of
Brace yourselves.
No bitterness.
Brace
Let it
yourselves.
flow. Let it flow.
Wow, he has
Do
no.
it.
He has no scotch in him. What is going on? Okay, come on, let's go. Let's
I
do
know,
this.
I know, right?
Mellow him out.
This is beautiful.
After 4 years of open criminality, I think people just got used to that. They're like, I'm seeing it now in 40K, where it's just like, we'll just do stupid criminal illegal in the open.
Ooh.
We went a full ass different direction than I thought we were gonna go.
That was pretty wild.
I'm just saying that was like, if you're gonna telegraph doing something shady, don't do it so fucking openly. For fuck's sake,
Don't say the quiet part out loud. I think.
And
don't say the quiet part out loud.
And don't go on your own Twitch channel and then say the quiet part out loud after the fact as well, which is also what happened. So
that was a shock. That was a complete shock.
So just so the audience knows, there's a video of Brian Richard Siegler talking to John Lennon, the guy who quote unquote won this event, saying, well, I had to drop out of after round 3 because I didn't want to face you and beat you, because that would have dropped you out and you wouldn't win the ITC or get enough points to be close enough to winning the ITC. Now, of course, the automatic thing after that was that, oh, we're joking, ha, 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 ha. But it's the same thing with what Jeremy's saying. The second line is like, you could say ha, 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 because it's they're alluding to saying that, the global event that's going on, being like, we're doing this as a kind of a joke, ha, ha. But if you're in the Midwest and you have no one's in the top whatever ATC and you pull that joke, I will believe your joke, but not at this event and not with the people playing. I do not believe those jokes. I don't believe it in any context anywhere because of who you are. And I will say also, as I'm being just so nice, see, I'm so nice when I'm not typing. I will say one thing in their defense is that you have to repeat, with the exception of Nick Nanavati, these guys are super young. They're super young. I think they're all both under John and Siegler are both under 25. I want to say are around 25.
Really?
Super duper young. So I know you don't want to say, oh, because they're kids, blah, blah, young 40K players. And Broheimer's also a team that's only been around for 3 or 4 years, I think, at most, something like that. And these are all young kids. They don't know the lay of the land. So like I said in the beginning, I said my hope is with this article and the community in general, I would say the community is more powerful, obviously, than my article, will be like, don't ever do this again. And I have a feeling that probably Nick, who can not be responsible, but is also responsible, Nick Nanavati, probably had a very big heart-to-heart with him about this. And that, came out with all the mea culpas and all the articles written, all their talks about what happened and why they're basically pseudo mea culpas about it.
And honestly, they could honestly believe what they did was not at all wrong, unethical, or even that's basically we're talking about ethical premises here. We're not talking about there's no legal binding here. This is just social contracts at best. It's just
that gets tough. Also, when you consider that a lot of top play in 40K happens by working on the margins of the rules, right? Exploiting loopholes, exploiting rules in the game, taking advantages of fringe things. And so you set up this mentality that then expands beyond the game, and you start to get a mentality that says, well, I'm going to game the tournament. I'm going to game the season. And that's what it is. And as soon as you think it's okay to play in the game, then you think it's okay to do everywhere else.
And that's the thing. That's the other thing is about this. The Brohammer team has had this history already in their young time of building up these edge cases. And I wrote that in the article about saying that last year, and last year, there's Richard Siegler had 20 million tons of ties that I've talked to Garrett and other people, and they said that are statistics people saying that's really statistically improbable to have these many ties. And then I talked to Richard about it, and he explained the math of it, because he's also, kind of a brainiac. And he was like, well, look, this is how my list performs. This is how the secondaries work. And I totally believed him. And I still believe him actually about the tie thing, but it sets up this thing where people are like, and then they come to LVO last year, and everyone, but I think one or two players of their team, which are probably the lower class levels of in the hierarchy of the competitive scene, lower class, they all brought identical lists, or lists with one change to one thing, because they found rule interactions that were totally 100% legal but they exploited the game to the max. And sure enough, John and Richard end up, being like third and first place at LVO because they basically exploited the game, which everyone does in all these big tournaments. So it's not the big deal, but they kind of took it to this next level where like everyone in the team is doing the same thing. We all have an equal chance of running the table. So
yeah, but that right there, I didn't realize that was going on, because that's something that we have analyzed before too, not as a podcast, but as a team, the possibility. And that was our discovery, was that by using identical lists in large format tournaments, that you could metagame and actually cause like certain statistical effects on the entire game that would allow certain players on the team to perform better. And we literally decided as a team that it would not be ethical for us to engage in those types of practices, and chose that was part of what we would not do. But we figured that math out a couple of years ago. I mean, we do happen to have some crazy brainiac math people on our team as well.
So context there. I didn't want to say it. You said it, John. So now cat's out of the bag there. Yeah, we chose not to do it, Nick, but there was an event. It was probably it was the last LVO that I went to for 40K. So it was 4 years ago, maybe 5. And the thought was, well, hey, what if we all bring knightless? Because like there are a lot of armies that can deal with knights in mid 7th, early 7th edition, but then a lot of armies that couldn't. So if we all bring the same really well put together knight list, one of them is going to break through, maybe even two. And that was the thought.
Yeah. So I didn't know you guys were trying. We thought now.
We never did. I know
you never did, but who thought? I'm curious on who initially thought of it.
I don't need to tell you. How about this? You message me, and I'll say whether or not it was right.
Yeah, I'll guess it.
You'll guess right. I'm very confident you'll guess right, but I don't want to say it.
So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because I actually didn't think of. I mean, I thought of it on just the basic rules exploiting level of the list design, but you saying that, I never even thought about like the statistical math part of it. And knowing the Brohammer guys, 3 or 4 of them are, at that math level. So obviously that's an extra wrinkle that I, didn't know. And that makes it even worse. I'm trying to be nice, guys, and you're making it worse. Thanks, John. I appreciate it so much.
All right. That's what we do.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate, because I'm sure John Lennon and all these guys are probably very good players. But they probably, they feel like, it's the whatever, I'm not really a sports guy, but I'm guessing it's the equivalent of deflating a football. Like it's the equivalent of deflating a football. It's
the Astros slamming on garbage cans.
It's more like the Astros, actually. It's probably closer to that.
Yeah, which is, by the way, theirs is probably the most egregious thing I've seen in professional sports in the last ever.
Really? Not as egregious as stealing the call signs from your opponent's side coaches?
They did that too.
They did that too. They literally did everything. They did everything but deflate a baseball, because you can't deflate a baseball. They did everything else almost.
So they had hollowed bats too as well.
If you're an Astros fan, you're listening to this, you're out of luck. You're not going to enjoy your time.
Ball so it spins off center, giving you better curves.
Yeah,
all kinds of weird stuff.
Dramas, it's okay. So, selfishly, it's nice to have once a year, a drama moment for 40K or just events in general to just recheck, as a community. It's nice to have the boogeyman still be for us. Yeah, the boogeyman needs to be around, so you don't get complacent effectively. But the unfortunate reality is this could have a lasting impact on the ITC and that type of events, because I actually really enjoy Iron Man style events. Though to be honest, I'm getting older now, so I don't know if I enjoy it as much. But when I was younger,
you gotta clench your butt, like John said.
Right.
I had a whole episode on it.
I was introduced to that to at Nova the first time I went, and I think I played 3 days drunk of Warhammer, and it was phenomenal, and I really enjoyed that of fond memories, even though it's not because of the alcohol, it's just because of the friendships I made along the way. And it's going to be sad for, to hear that, that's not that could be something that's no longer on the table. I hope not, but.
Well, Reese made this statement. I think he said that that's definitely being cut down. I think he did. I think his statement mentioned, I mean, they're putting in new procedures for ringers. They're going to be doing a lot of changes. So I think Iron Man is definitely on the chopping block if it already is an chopping block.
I will say I'm really glad that Reese and Frankie. I don't know if it was both of them or if it's just Reese in this instance, but I'm really happy with the level of reception that we've gotten from Reese, and we're all friends with him. We all know him. He's a really nice guy, and you know, he's in a hard position. He's always been in a hard position because if he does there's no he can't do anything right, and I don't mean that he can't do anything right, and like that he truly can't. What I mean to say is he can't make a decision that's not going to upset somebody, right?
Right.
And so, you know, what was it, Bob Dylan, who said you can't please all the people all the time, and that's truly the position that he's in these instances. So he wants to do the right thing, and I think that he made the right call if he does ban Iron Man events, but it's going to piss off someone. But it's also blatantly like a way of exploiting points, right? That's why you don't have five.
He can't ban Iron Man events. They can't get ITC.
You just can't earn ITC points. Yeah. Well,
Right.
okay, you're banning, but you're not saying ban. You're not using BAN in order.
Yeah, but the problem is not
you're still
the Iron Man portion of it. The Iron Man.
Yeah, that was
portion
not
is
the
fine.
Iron
Like
portion.
you get. I think the things that we really need to look at. You know, one is, as Nick mentioned, rules about how ringers are handled. Like there needs to be something legit. Two, what counts as the official number of players? Like, is it okay for you to call up 10 of your friends, they come down, they legitimately play that first game, and then drop to meet numbers? Should they have to play the first day? Do they have to play at least the first game of the second day? So what is that cutoff that makes it acceptable? You know, should we even have limits on tournaments? Should it be 30 as a GT and that? Or should it be just a sliding scale so that people aren't forced to add 3 or 4 or 5 players to hit some magic number? Oh, I've made promises to people that it will be a GT. So if I don't hit GT, I didn't make my promises. If I didn't hit GT, I won't get the attendance next year. So I have to do this just so that the people blah, blah, blah. So there's pressures on the TO to make these decisions. And, you know, you can't just say, oh, the guy did it because of X, Y. Maybe he did, but there's legitimate pressures that he might have been addressing too. So how do we take the, you know, the impetus away from, you know, the desire to cheat is one thing, and what are the right choices? Anyways, that's a lot of stuff for me to say on it. Not a lot of answers in there, but those are the issues I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just add a point penalty to the equation they have where when you have more than 4 rounds in a day, just basically just a penalizer for everyone after that. So you don't ban them, you just de-incentivize them. And it's the point. Sorry, this is like the econ Jeremy coming at, like it's all about incentives. If you're gonna have a point system because you're introducing an incentive mechanism, just adjust your incentive structure to make it so like Iron Man are no longer as attractive as that 2-day event, right? They had a 2-day event, but they chose to run it as 2 different 1-day games. Like, why? Just
because some people might have had commitments on Sunday.
That's fucked. I will say, when it comes to what policy should be in place, I do like the fact that there are certain policies that have to be done and certain other ones that can be up to the TO. Just if they have the ability to just flat out ban Iron Man events, I don't mind it. Just because like that's the reason why you can't have a 500 point tournament. So you can have like 12 events in 12 rounds in 1 day and have like X amount of people and just go with it, right? That's why Kill Team doesn't count for fucking ITC or Warcry, you know, or some shit for AOS. It makes sense. It's to avoid any sort of abuse, and you want to try to fill the gaps when you can. But in an imperfect game like anything Games Workshop makes, there's going to be exploits that you can make one way or another, and that's just the nature of the game.
Whoa. You're saying Games Workshop makes imperfect games? I think you're full of shit. This game is flawless, perfect, biggest, you know, everything.
Jeremy, I've had enough faux rage for this year. I don't need any more.
Hey guys.
Yeah, don't be fake.
No, Jeremy's totally right, guys. Mike Brandt is not on the scene. The game is perfect. Just letting you know.
That's right. Mike Brandt, my savior.
Yeah. He's saving us from ourselves right now.
Yeah, that's right. Warhammer, great.
Yeah.
Forever.
Anyways, what I will say is that I like the idea of banning the Iron Man events. Yes, and I know that I know that there's a little bit of a question about what to do with players, right? Because we've either run events or um, we've participated in events where they've needed to like wrangle people in at the last moment, right? There have been a lot of like RTTs that and granted, like there were RTTs that I would run or be a part of where like I didn't want just like 4 people to show up. So I made sure that 8 people showed up, right? By like diligently harassing them until they showed up or more, or like 16, 20 people.
Oh,
I
yeah.
knew for a fact I was not going to get a GT. I just didn't want like the same people playing each other in round robin and then make that the RTT. That sucks. I wanted to like make sure I got to a certain amount to make sure that it wasn't too low in terms of numbers. But a good thing that stands out to me is Winter Wars for John. Like I think that that's the way that it should be, because to preface this, I didn't realize people would go to events specifically as like an exploitative measure for numbers until I actually started running events, which was probably only about 5 years in my like 20-year history of gaming, right? Or playing like Warhammer 40K, for example, because like people would show up day one, play all of day one, and just not show up for day two. Maybe they were hungover. Maybe their names were people that we are familiar with. Maybe they had a real true blue commitment or something, or a family emergency, but they didn't show up for day two. At least they fully played day one. And so, John does have Firehead production, and he does have Winter Wars, which typically happens either in December or January each year. Not this year, probably, or likely, or even next year, maybe the end of next year. Who knows? We all get the injection in our jugular. And if you're an anti-vax, if you don't believe in it, just unfollow us. I'm not here for that. But also, it's like 1%.
Oh shit! I need to get out of here.
Yes, you're very important. That being said, that's going to be another algorithm situation. But John did his due diligence, right? He made sure he could track down every single person who could go to the event, made sure that they went to the event, and it was their business to play an entire day's worth, expected 2 full days worth. Some people dropped out, other people stayed. And it wasn't just the first round and then a third of the people or half the people disappear. They were committed to a weekend.
I think a good example was our good friend Liz Foster, who had competed in a jiu-jitsu championship the day before and had a cracked rib, but had committed to show up to the GT. Came, played 2 rounds, and then she's like, John, I'm so sorry. I'm like, Liz, I can't believe you played the 2 rounds with a cracked rib. You're awesome. Of course, not a problem. And she dropped after 2 rounds, and not unexpected, right?
Dude, when we were at the taco place for lunch, that's when I realized that she had, like, that's when she told me she had a broken rib. And the whole time it's like, I'm just like, why did you guys show up? Holy fuck. Like you still showed up with broken ribs, and then like I see her and she's in pain, but she's not saying anything, not like making a big deal. Just like you could see it that she's not having a good time, and her husband Dom is just like a little worried. He didn't seem like overly concerned, but even then it was like, okay, you guys both need to bounce, and frankly should not have even showed up, but like they did. And they played 1 round and then they bounced. Everyone else at least played the full day with a commitment to try to play day 2. And I think even then maybe like 1 or 2 people of like 8 didn't. So maybe like 4 of 10 didn't show up.
I was really surprised by how many showed up on day 2, because I remember some of the people that were new players. Like I got my son to play for the first time. And I told him, I say, hey, we really appreciate you coming the first day. Understand if you don't come. And they're like, oh, I'm having fun. I want to come back. And so I was really happy with the day 2 attendance then, last year at least.
Yeah. And so that's
Please go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know. I was gonna say that's the way that I feel like it should be done. Like you can't just drop out round 1. And maybe it's like what you guys had mentioned earlier. Maybe it's a penalty for everyone. The whole class takes the penalty if the event organizer doesn't have a grip on who leaves and who stays. But like maybe there's a margin of error for circumstances beyond everyone's control.
I don't know. I think, I know like Peter, the stats 40K guy, he actually runs stats for everything. So there might be actually a number where it's like 2 people can drop, and that's the cap. And then once two people drop after a game turn, if you have more than 2 people drop on your event after the first round, then you start getting penalized. It's like,
or if it's a percentage.
Or percentage, yeah. I guess it would be a percentage because the events all change.
20%.
Yeah.
Well, in that event, for specifically, it was 25, a fourth of the field drop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, a fourth of the field dropped after the first round?
And then probably
after the third round, there was at least a fourth of the field had gone.
Well, after the first round, you have at least what, 10%, at least 10, 15.
Yeah,
drop, right?
around 10, 15%. Yeah.
Yeah. And then after round 3, because let's just say certain 2 players that weren't from Brohammer that were in contention might have lost their games. Just throwing it out there, But that's true.
And you know what? It's okay to have highly complex math behind the scoring, because whereas in the past, the scoring system for the ITC was actually pretty easy. As of this, last season, or was it the season before, they completely changed the scoring algorithms. I remember they worked very hard, and now they don't even publish the actual formulas behind the scoring mechanism and how it scales against different events. And so what we know is that there's highly complicated math. So there can be if-thens, conditions, cases, and all that built into the formula. The complexity doesn't have to happen on a spreadsheet anymore,
Highly complicated. I love that description. I can run that through a solver in Excel, solve the equation. Don't worry about it.
I didn't say I haven't figured it out. I'm saying that it's still not a basic 1 plus 1.
You're saying that if I have a piece of paper and I'm writing without a computer doing it for me, then it's difficult.
Oh, okay,
Otherwise,
okay.
Yeah.
I get it now. I get it. I'm following.
All right. Not everyone has access to Intel or Excel.
Oh, Intel. No.
I just had to throw it out there, even though it has nothing to do with anything. It has nothing to do with anything. And it's terrible anyway.
I was actually pretty happy. I had to merge over 1,000 spreadsheets yesterday in Excel.
Ooh.
And I had never done that. And so I used the tools in the latest Excel to do that. It took about 5 minutes on my computer.
I use Power Query.
I was pretty happy. Huh? Well, yeah, you know how to do it. I've never had to do it.
And you hit that enter button, you're like, please.
I mean, when this all happened, then I was like, well, how long is my computer going to be doing this? Because I don't got all day.
And then the worst part is after it gets done, you're like, oof, I hope it didn't drop any records.
I hate that. Wow, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it was more like I found the one record that was formatted wrong and then had to redo it. I'm like, awesome, that one's out of there.
At least it was one.
Anyways.
Only one. That's good.
So done with our data mining portion of the show.
After everyone's fallen asleep, that's good. Good. Now we can wake them up. There we go.
So PowerPoint.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. So I mean, like, long story short, there was a letter, there was an announcement that was made by a certain coaching service, let's call it. I can't.
You've already said their name, Art Award. There's no.
Art,
we don't have to be.
Award, yeah.
We have to be sneaky anymore.
Art Award made a statement, and they showed their what's the word I'm looking for?
Justifications.
They stated their justification. Sure, we'll use that. And
because I used the right word right at the top where I linked it in our show notes.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Link to.
We can read it out loud, maybe we can
I was trying my best not to say that, John. But
no, it was right there. I was providing you the right word. I just wanted to be clear.
Okay. Well, if I got approval, then yeah, it was their link to excuses. By the way, I got a kick out of this because per aspera, and we were talking about this right before you came on, Nick. Per aspera is Latin, clearly, and I don't understand why they use that term, right? Per aspera essentially is part of a larger Latin phrase, and it's it essentially is just about making sure that you can, it says, through hardships to the stars. And there's a video game called Per Aspera, which is like a planetation simulation game.
Hey, it's pretty obvious. There's hardships going on in the world, especially in Florida, and you have to travel to the stars to get away from it. And that's
My apologies.
What they're trying to do.
I missed
that's what they're trying to do.
Per aspera is not that whole phrase, though. It's per aspera ad astra. So per aspera is just through hardships, which like, yeah, I get we're all going through hardships right now, but also like colluding ain't hardship.
Hey, it's the hardship of not being number one ITC. They got to be that number one.
Okay, but here's another question. I mean, like Jeremy was number one ITC for AOS in 2019. I just happened to be second, and that was like a real season, but it was in AOS too. If you count, can you count 2019 as a season? I mean, I know you can, but like realistically, like let's think about it. Like if you have like 15 to 20% of the actual player base participating, if not less, does it still count, or is it a little bit of a participation trophy?
Well, no, we know that 2020 doesn't count.
Yeah,
right?
2020. Yeah, no one. I mean,
I disagree with that sentiment a little bit, but that's for different reasons. It really depends, like, because unfortunately 40K isn't chess. Warm is not chess. We don't have scoring mechanism, elo scores per player. I think if any, let me finish. If you're playing in a smaller fucking pool of players, the people actually going to events, I will say, I could be wrong, but there's a chance that the crowd of players actually showing up to events like this event on Saturday was pretty fucking tough crowd. That's a pretty tough crowd to play in. So maybe that skill level for the events that are happening are maybe a little higher than the typical if it was a non-COVID era tournaments. So you could make the argument that yes, this season is not as many players, but honestly, that could also work against you. Less players does not mean easier tournaments. It just means
you're saying less casual.
Skill. Yeah, I think
casual.
I think the problem, Jeremy, is that you're separating like reality from like a hypothetical. So we're in this reality, and 2/3 of the population in this country, I should say 2/3 of with the exception of New Zealand and Australia, and people in Florida, and like Texas and Oklahoma.
Okay, but there's a difference. There's a difference. Two of those did the right thing for.
Well, let's not get into that.
Nurgle's rot.
Yeah, it's called Nurgle's rot. So there's people that are choosing not to that are really good. So I think the player pool example works if it was a hypothetical and we just happened to be a random thing happened. But because we're in reality, because John Lennon is only playing the 5 same people that are really good, granted, really awesome, he's still not playing Nick Rose. He's still not playing Pajama Pants. He's still not playing Chester. He's still not playing.
It's the same debate chess players talk all the time about comparing grandmasters. Like, well, this guy was only good because this guy wasn't around during his career. It's the same fucking reason.
But that's not. It's absolutely no. So we are all in each other's career. All the people that Nick mentioned, all their careers are currently open and active despite Nurgle's rot, which prevents them from doing that, or at least responsibly doing that. So
but you're also making the assumption that if it was a normal year, then he possibly could not have been this good. That's the problem with also your logic.
That's absolutely what I'm trying to say.
But that's the same. It's the same argument you just made against me, which is you're making a hypothetical, not based in reality. Right?
I didn't actually make it. So I was the.
What I saw you go like this.
Yes, because you were well, my headphones.
I thought he was getting ready for later. I don't know what was going on.
My headphones. My headphones stay on when I move my head.
I'm gonna squash this right now. You notice how he went after you, Alex, because he knows that he can probably win a debate with you, maybe. But he knows if he goes after me, he can't. That was what the tell.
100%, fully.
Yeah, that was the.
We don't have Greg on. We don't have Greg on to bully Jeremy.
Mama didn't raise no dummy.
No.
But that being said, but Jeremy does have a point in like the not. I wouldn't
in
say
like a complete vacuum in like a negative zone. Yes, he has a point.
Yes. Or if I'd also even say say if one country couldn't travel, he would still have a point. This is the grandmaster point, But this is a very, very unique situation.
He'll always be whoever wins this year will always be the winner of the COVID ITC. That's just
it's like a pat on the head and being like, yes, you did great.
Yeah.
Age of Sigmar, 40K, Shadespire, whatever, fucking.
But John's right. 5 years from now, when there's the John Lennon, Richard Siegler, Nick Nodavati poster, where they're like doing the bro thing like this, where they're crossing their arms and they're back to back, that poster is going to go up and it will say 3-time champions or whatever, champions of ITC. And that's the big problem that, is the, the undercurrent of this whole drama that I think reveals itself by all their actions. Tangentially, you come and you make a good argument.
That's so true. I mean, if we look at our own missing teammate, we have Mr. Garrett, right? And what do we think about Garrett as a ITC champion, right? Same year that my wife took 5th in the ITC. And those are two facts that are absolutely true. Yep. And years later, that's all we'll remember. Now, we could also mention that it was the first year of the AOS ITC and that it only had traction on the West Coast and blah, blah, blah.
Or it's like a Paul McKelvey winning year 1 of ITC, right? I had to put it in there. I had to put it in there.
Oh, I
had to. I had to.
He doesn't listen. He'll be fine. If he sends me an angry message on Facebook or Discord, I'll be like, "Oh shit, he actually listens. Thank you for the listen."
I'd be amazed.
You don't understand.
This far into an episode.
The paranoia part of me believes that there's people out there that have algorithms for when I talk. So that's the scary part. That's my conspiracy.
YouTube does, but maybe certain singular individuals.
I think there's one person I know for sure, but that's just me.
Ooh.
Yeah, but that's my own.
To be so cool that somebody actually wrote an algorithm to find your voice.
Not to find my voice, to find my to find me talking. Where if just a search for is he saying stuff about me around this time?
Yes, like libel and so forth. Yep.
Oh,
I know who he's talking about.
I know who he's talking about too. Oh boy,
anyway,
what a nightmare.
Well, sorry, we were on the topic of the fact that listen this way. We personally never advertised this podcast as come listen to the three of the best players or 4 of the best players of AOS ITC, whatever. Fucking okay. I wasn't counting Alex, but don't worry about it.
Cool.
But the point is,
we have our latest. Never mind.
It's a goal that's untenable because the idea of this game is, the reason why I love it. It's a living game. It changes with time, and it's never fucking consistent. It's meaningless to say, buy my services, listen to us because we won this game 1 fucking year. Shit, that's fucking meaningless. That's just meaningless. There's a reason why Nick isn't fucking winning ITC. There's a reason why a lot of the previous winners are not winning, are not doing that hot. It's not like they stopped playing. That hasn't changed. It's just the game moves on, and some people either adapt or don't. And it just and that's the reality I'm going to face. It's the reality Alex is going to face. It's the reality.
I've already faced it.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
when the field becomes flatter, you have more different champions. More people can win when that starts happening. But also people reach out for that. A few years ago when I won Best Dark Angels in the ITC, right? That year, and only that year, I had so many people messaging me, Dark Angels players, can you give me help with lists? And what do you think of this and this and this? And people are out there. And, a lot of us that play this game on a high competitive level, I'm not saying that all of us are champions like most of everyone else on this podcast, but, still play at a very high level and interact on a very high level are can make lists easily, can create lists. And we take for granted that is just something that everybody can do. But the fact is, for most people, the creation of lists and these things from scratch is a very difficult creative activity. So if you only have to look at the Patreon accounts for the Art of War to see that, yes, there are a lot of people that are looking for these services and a lot of people that are looking for these advice. And when you start looking at the financial side of it, there is maybe not a lot of money in winning tournaments, but there is definitely a lot of money to be made in consultation services and other similar things making behind 40K. And there's not a lot of people making money at it, but these are people making money at it. And because they have a vested interest in being good to make that money, that often can drive, shall we say, alternate motivation. And I'm not saying that was what behind all of this, but that still comes into factor there.
Incentive is the word, yes.
Yes, incentive. Thank you. I didn't write that down on the script. That's why I didn't have it handy.
But it's an IE word is close enough.
I know. I guess I'm just a little tired of talking about this topic because now I'm just getting angrier and angrier, and then since there's a lack of alcohol in me, I'm just.
Well, you know what? Actually,
I can't dumb it down. I can't null it down.
The whole reason I ended with that is what I was actually trying to segue into, and I should have just taken it all the way. Was we in your phase, we have our first Patreon subscriber, Mr. Aaron Wish. I want to reach out to you, my friend. Thank you for subscribing to us on Patreon. We're setting up your access for our Discord channel. Looking forward to interacting and talking with you on there. Maybe getting some of your input on some of the contents, especially in our 40K episodes, because we know you're a big 40K player. So when I said, Aaron, thank you very much for sponsoring this show. This show is yours, brother. It is yours right now.
John will be your eternal hype man. That was a perk that you were not aware of.
That's right. When we go to our next tournament, I will come in before you. I will wear my Dark Angel shirt and maybe a robe. I will be your watcher in the dark, and I will announce you as we come in. I got a purity seal even, right? We'll get the purity seal going on, the whole 9 yards. It'll be glorious.
This would be perfect, John. Like in 10 years when you're even shorter, this is gonna be perfect. God
damn it. God damn it.
So this will be the actual secret service that you could get as being a patron, is that John becomes your Bobby Howard Bird for the hardest working man in show business, James Brown. He had a hype man. And if you ever watched really old performances of James Brown, his hype man was just like so good, and that was the hype man. So John can be anyone's hype man. There you go.
I will say though, like we just spent like a good time like shitting on consultation services for gaming, but I kind of like maybe we should do a poster of all four of us like best Warhammer players and of an ass.
We do the teenage Charlie's Angels thing, thing, right? Where it's just like back to back and like that looks. I would do it. I don't give a fuck.
I think the key is having a little asterisk with some fine print below. That's the most part.
Yeah, that's the key.
That's the key. Be like,
it'd be like 1, 2, and 3 asterisks.
You'd be like Corvallis champions, like.
Oh, I'm surprised nobody throws those big brags up now that ITC has local champions. Yo, man, I got that Santa Clara Valley Championship down.
Damn.
Make your own fake trophies. It'd be awesome.
I mean, this is definitely a plug to let people know. And, we do have not only the Patreon, but we do have Discord associated to the Patreon. So, we have a lot of really good content that's available for individuals. It's ready for you. So if you guys do want to buy us a cup of coffee, it's certainly there. But it is getting to that magical time where normally Garrett is like dozing off,
I do the Garrett.
Doing the Garrett. Sorry, Garrett. So I got the little signal in my brain now here. We'll call it a muscle memory. Nick, is there anything that you want to promote at all besides your podcast, or even including your podcast?
I don't know, podcast.
Not podcast. We're his podcast.
Blog.
We are his podcast.
Blog and website. But
you can go to Bloody Kittens. It's there. It's been there. This is gonna be this coming up April will be my 12th year doing that blog. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Is that crazy?
Okay. I gotta say,
you know what? When I first started playing this game, Nick was like some celebrity. That's how I first. Someone was like, "Dude, that's Kittens. That's the guy that does Blood of Kittens." I'm like, really? We don't want to go. He's really famous in 40K. I was like, oh man, really? Like a celebrity? Yeah, I remember that.
I still remember going to the Alamo at GW store and Alex and Anthony being starstruck. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. No,
yeah. That was a long fucking time ago.
That's a long time ago. But anyway, no. So the blog, as everyone that's doing dealing with Nurgle's Rot, I of course started like everyone else a YouTube. I shouldn't say started. I restarted my YouTube channel. So I post once a week, nothing too fancy. Either it's 1 week battle report, the other week is some topic that I want to talk about that's not targeted at like specific people or events. It's just kind of like a general discussion about something. So, a battle report, and I do a specialized battle reports. They're short form. They're only 5 to 6 minutes. And I know John loves them because that's his attention span. And that's my attention span in my old age. So that's why I wanted, I think they're very unique, and I think they're kind of cool. That's my personal big thing because I make them, of course. That's why I do that. But the most important thing is why I like them is because it only takes me about 1.5 hours to edit and put them up. So that's why I really do them.
I'll be honest, I like the 5-minute ones more. 7 starts to push my limits.
Well, yeah, I think I only have 1.7. They usually get around 6, but I'll keep that in mind, John. I'll cut them down even for you. I'll make them even like more streamlined just for you.
Perfect.
Just for you. So yeah, it's only say a YouTube channel. Hopefully you'll have in the show notes for this episode, link that, and also the blog, of course, link that. Do that thing down there.
Do that.
Click smash that subscribe button.
I do say that it actually works. It's proven science. You say smash that like button, subscribe. It actually does work.
Then you gotta have the little pop up too for them to click.
I don't go that far.
We don't go that. Maybe we will this time.
I have this level of like I just can't go across the clickbait thing. Like, just a side story. So after this post, there's a lot of times people will be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe how." Like people always say, like, "It's clickbait. This article was clickbait. Look how many ads he has." I'm like, "Have you guys been to Bowls for Spiky Bits? I literally have like 3 ads on my site."
I was gonna say there's
like when people say that, I'm like, I want to like. That's like that makes me the most upset. So psychologically, that actually has an effect on me. So I want to always be like, I can't have a subscribe with a big blow up on it. That's just too. Asking
can't be a sellout, Nick. Come on,
Nick. I gotta say,
I try to balance that. I try to be on that balance.
No taking a bath in the pork and beans for you.
Yeah.
on a certain Facebook group that you and I are both a part of, someone complained exactly about that, about your ads, and then I myself went on there. And not only did I laugh at the fact that there was like maybe like 2 ads, like one at the top and one at the bottom, but also like the ads that he had screenshotted was like, you know this goes with internet history, right?
Yeah.
Because like my ad was not as salacious, let's say.
It was very Cyberpunk 2077 enlargement issues going on with that.
Yeah, and so I was like, and like mine is like
I didn't know that.
It's like
everybody got
indoor plants
when they surf the internet.
Yeah, no, that was really funny, and like, yeah, it's always fun. People like, it's like, and there's also a lot of just general argument things like throw out, attack the person, just the classic, debate tactics to get people off the thing. Like, really, you're gonna complain about 3 ads? Whatever. That's
yeah,
like,
it's not
internet,
unreadable.
Yeah. Oh, that's other things. He complained also that I linked my YouTube below that one of the ads was my YouTube. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay.
That sounds like advertisement working as intended.
Yeah. I'm like, it's a loop. They form together.
It's almost like you want a succinct platform for your media.
Anyway, but yeah. So that always chasts my hide. But anyway, it's fine. I'll sort
Chast your hide.
You could have your web ring at the bottom, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Click my web ring.
That's all. Where's my live journal? I need to do that.
I was gonna say, Nick, I recently had to go on a deep, dark article of yours from like so long ago. because I wanted to find a photo of the golden
Demon? No, the Golden Throne.
Golden Throne
Tournament?
GT, the second one, and I was having so much trouble finding it.
The Israel Reese one.
Yes, and I think I found an article that you had actually cross-posted to your blog from DACA, and someone commented with all the photos, or maybe you commented with all the photos. It's the only living proof of like my Taudar army that still exists. So I saved that photo, and I was like, oh shit, hell yeah! It's like a blurry cam, but like I don't give a fuck because it was also
sidebar.
Yeah.
This was because Paul couldn't. It was like Taudar was never a thing. It never existed.
Yeah, Taudar.
In all seriousness, he was just like, it's like Taudar does never been a thing. It's never been legal. Never existed.
No. He said no. It's not that he said that it wasn't legal. He said it never existed in 6th edition. And
what?
I went, motherfucker, that was only 6th edition. And the fact that I had proof because I fucking played it. And so I was like, I need to find the army because he's like, there were none. I think he said something like, there was none at the Golden Throne GT. And I was like, not only was there,
I played against Israel's Taudar.
But no, John, this is the kicker. It's like not only was there Taudar at the Golden Throne GT, but that was our first game against each other. Was it the Golden Throne? So you played against that.
That's awesome.
And so I had to find the army. He's like, oh yeah, we did play.
Nice.
Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great tournament. That was when I
That
met
was a great tournament.
Garrett Acord too.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Another community member.
Speaking of which, John, do you have anything to plug this week?
Oh, everybody, of course, hopefully you watched my hobby unboxing earlier this week, and coming up next Wednesday, getting back to the hobby stuff. I'm going to continue with my build of the Silent King. You guys know I already finished up the lighted menhirs, right, the other day. Boom. Oh, yeah. And so I got to finish up the rest of the lighted king body. I'm going to start work on that next Wednesday. Going to try and do a little consolidated build as I did with these ones. So I won't be doing like hours of Dremel tool work like I did with the Scorpec Lord. I'll do all that offline. Just watch me do the build. So it should be a lot of fun. That is it for me. Other than that, look for me every Friday on this podcast.
Besides returning to alcoholism, Jeremy, what are you going to be doing?
Resuming a fetal position, crying myself, like having to deal with like basically having less calories in the day. I don't know. Probably playing a game of Warhammer with this guy Alex. He's a real go-getter. And then that's not gonna be on Sunday. And then next week we'll have another 40K stat show with Garrett live. And don't know what the topic of that episode will be, because we covered some codex specific secondaries last week, and how important they are to the meta right now. But for the most part, probably gonna keep painting my sisters. I fucking love those models. They're so beautiful.
They're so fucking cool.
Yeah. So
yeah. Well, I'm excited to possibly play you on Sunday. Whether it be TTS or in person, we're gonna have to figure that out due to Nurgle's Rot and the holiday season. But we are going to definitely try to figure that shit out. I would love to fight against the sisters again, but I don't know, maybe not. Last time you used four command points to do 36 heavy flamer shots, and I think like 27 went through or something, and I was like, oh, this is normal.
They rerolled to wound and had max hits. Yeah, it was cool. It was fun.
That was fun. That was cool. It was cool.
It was fun.
Yeah, do barrel roll. That's a spin. That's a neat trick. Anakin Skywalker, episode 1. But yeah, I all I have to same thing is the stream game on Sunday, with the exception of earlier in the day on Sunday. I am gonna be on the last not Rage of Sigmar, Party at the All Points, good friends of ours. Primarily, it's completely an Age of Sigmar podcast, but it's got several players who both play 40K. I am going to be on their last episode of the season, so it's probably not going to come out on that same Sunday, but definitely take a look. They're all friends of the podcast. They're going to have, I believe, one of the individuals from Rage of Sigmar and the Honest Wargamer on as well. So it'll be a fun time. And if it is if they're listening and it comes out on Friday, they're going to be like, fuck you, it's not live stream. I don't know if it's going to be live stream or not. I hope it's not. But I have that on my docket too. But besides that, we have, of course, the TCS game. And I actually got to say, with the stats show, I'm really excited for the next one anyways, because I listened, of course, we do check in on each other. And the last stats show I really, really liked, because of the fact that, you guys are able to really determine something that goes in line with what John had mentioned at the start of the episode. Earlier in the episode, he mentioned possible blowout games, and you guys explicitly talked about the change, about how there are actually less blowout games now than there were before. And you went into a very distinct breakdown as to why that might be, due to secondaries chosen. And you even went to a breakdown of, if you are ex-army, which I won't say because you got to watch the video. If you are ex-army and you don't get X number of secondaries, you are statistically not winning that game. So depending on what faction you play, you should definitely check it out, right? So
Wow, that sounds like the kind of valuable information that could help you play the game better.
That's too clickbaity. That whole description.
well, no, too clickbaity would be like 5 things you don't know about your army.
Yeah, Patreon subscribers, our stats show.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
The Emperor is pregnant. I'm like, that's a clickbait title.
I'm using
something clickbait.
That's my video tomorrow, right there. Thank you for.
Yeah, you're gonna get the arts fans if we go any further
Yeah.
into that, right?
Yeah.
Yikes.
I would be like furries are a key to 40K. That's gonna be my.
Damn. Well, I think that this is the good point for
Good to stop
telling
it,
everyone that we,
Take us
you know,
home,
of course, you can, if you guys like us, you can like, subscribe. We are on podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. We are also on Facebook and Twitter at In Your Phase or In Your Phase Media, depending on either. Twitch, we are active too. We always have our live stream games. Probably going to be doing, we still have the stat show, the John's hobby, hobby time. We have, of course, these podcasts and video casts. We have some a little bit less frequent video games, but it's always Warhammer related, whether it be Total War Warhammer or very soon Darktide. So definitely hit us up, like us, review us, whether it's a compliment or if you just want to talk shit, do it. That being said, check out Blood of Kittens as well, both Blood of Kittens YouTube channel and of course the the blog itself and on Facebook. But this is going to be Alex, John, Jeremy, and our great guest Nick, Tasty Chase.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for the evening. So you guys have a great night.
I'm starving.
Hey,
I'm gonna go get food. Yeah, thanks.